Welcome to Love Your Liver. This is a brief presentation on how to support and nourish your liver so that it can remain healthy for you. The liver, as you'll learn, is a really important organ. It does a lot of work for us and it doesn't get talked about very much in the wellness world. So I wanted to offer a few options of how to make some lifestyle changes, some things you can add to your diet, and just some ways to think about this really important part of your body that really sustains us and keeps us alive in a lot of ways. So, first off, the liver is an organ and it's located in the upper right part of your abdomen. So, it kind of sits beneath the diaphragm and on top of the stomach, right kidney, and intestines. So if you put your hand kind of just below your breast or your breastbone on the right hand side, you'll feel your liver there. And you can just take a moment to put your hand there and give it a nice big thank you for doing all of the work that it does for you, as you're going to learn about today. I'm a big believer in connecting to our organs and our body parts. I think that spiritual connection, that understanding of knowing exactly where everything is in the body is really helpful for our health and well-being, and it can be really empowering. The liver is part of what we call the excretory system, which also includes the kidneys, the lungs, and the sweat glands. And it's the largest organ in the body, and it makes sense that it is because it does so much. And I also want to remind you that the gut, the gallbladder, the colon, and the bladder are all part of the excretory system as well. So anywhere where we're eliminating things from the body, whether it's through sweat, urine, feces, whatever, we're eliminating and taking things out that we do not need. So this is all part of the system and what we're going to be talking about today. So a spiritual and holistic view of the liver, I like to look at things through a lot of different lenses. So this is a little bit of Chinese medicine, Eastern medicine, really talks about the liver in very specific ways. So it is said to be the energy of the personality and the home of the soul, which is really beautiful and also speaks to how important it is for us to take care of. It is connected to the wood element, and it's part of the solar plexus, which is the third chakra center and really our most vital chakra center. The eyes are connected with the liver, and we know this because often when people have, a very diseased liver, their eyes will often be yellow, or we know people get jaundice when the liver is not working well. And anger and optimism are the primary emotions associated with the liver. So, as you probably know, Eastern medicine talks a lot about the connection between emotions and organs, and we do in holistic medicine as well. So, we're going to talk a little bit about more of this holistic view as we go through. So symptoms of a sluggish liver could look like all of these things. Probably ones that we would see most often are fatigue. Definitely could be weight gain, because if we're not eliminating things from the body, it's going to be hard to lose weight. Poor digestion is also going to show up as a backup from the liver or could cause liver problems. A lot of hormonal imbalances, premenstrual cramping could be related to the liver, hypoglycemia, because as you'll see, the liver has a lot to do with processing glucose, skin problems, environmental allergies. So all of these things could be related to something else, but as we know, if we're taking a holistic view, everything's connected. So we could always trace any of these back to the liver when necessary. We really want to talk about toxins when we're talking about the liver, because it's one of its biggest jobs is to eliminate toxins from the body. And the toxins that we have to endure are from the medications we might have to take, body, and household products can be very toxic for us. Don't forget the sweat glands. Anything you put on your body is going to go into your system. We have a lot of environmental pollutants, food contaminants, and heavy metals, as we know, which none of these are going away, but when we can support the liver and the body, it can do a better job of eliminating them, which it's supposed to do. We also have on the right things like unresolved anger, any negative thoughts and emotions, toxic relationships, unprocessed grief, can all be problematic for the liver because, again, when things are blocked or backed up in the body, things can't get out and we can't have the natural process of recycling and eliminating things. And free radicals, we're going to talk a little more about. They're important to know about. These are kind of the remnants of metabolism and cellular regeneration. So the body naturally reuses cells, it recycles cells in the body. And so when a cell is dead and used up, it will either get recycled and, used again, or it'll get eliminated from the body. But if these remnants from metabolism and from cell regeneration are not removed from the body, they are called free radicals, and they can be problematic in terms of causing damage within the body. So we're going to talk about how to make sure we're eliminating the free radicals as much as possible. So what does it do and how does it work? The liver is the body's, what we call the master laboratory, because it does a lot of a mixture of things, and it does it by piecing a lot of things together. So it controls the synthesis and removal of cholesterol. It stores and distributes nourishment for the entire body. It filters toxins from the blood. As we talked about, it excretes hormones, which is really important, and this is particularly true for estrogen. It makes bile, which aids in digestion. It helps metabolize carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. It regulates blood sugar, and it produces clotting factors and stores vitamins and minerals. So you could see how involved it is and how it really touches into almost every part of the body and our health. And so we want to make sure that it's working properly because it is the most important detoxification organ. So the liver has 3 phases. When I went to nutrition school, there were only 2. So phase 3 is fairly new. And it's no surprise that it's related to the gut. So phase 1 is really the process of making what's something that's toxic non-toxic so that it could go into phase 2. And we call this activation and oxidation. And the most important byproduct of that or enzymatic reaction is the cytochrome P450, which is a group of enzymes that allow this process to happen. And you can see underneath that I've listed some of the nutrients and vitamins and minerals that need to be part of this process. And this is why food is so important in making sure we're eating a nutritious diet. Phase 2 is called conjugation, and I like to think of phase 2 as almost like a bunch of recycling bins, and each one needs kind of its own particular compounds or nutrients in order for this to happen. And so phase 2 is the really big phase where everything kind of gets mixed and matched together, and the liver does all of this work through all these processes to remove everything we need to remove from the body. And a big player here are amino acids, which we mainly get from protein. And then they've added this phase 3, which I don't know a ton about, but I wanted to just include it. And I guess it involves this P glycoprotein 16, which is in the small intestine. And this moves toxins from cells into the gut. So unwanted compounds get out of the cell and into the detoxification organs. So again, this is another version of something getting pulled out of the body and reprocessed so it could get eliminated. So this just points to how important gut health is, because if the gut isn't healthy, this process is going to be disrupted. And then I wanted to mention glutathione. Glutathione is an important antioxidant in the body, helping to combat free radicals. So that's what we talked about before, these free radicals. And glutathione also is a big heavy metal remover. And so it often gets depleted because our bodies are so taxed with environmental um, toxins, and also maybe we're not eating as much antioxidants in our diet as we need to be. And so we want to make sure that glutathione is well supported through food, and we can also supplement to help glutathione in more severe cases of its depletion. But some of the foods that we can incorporate into our diet that support glutathione are brassica vegetables, which we're going to talk more about in a minute. But those are like Brussels sprouts, any kind of broccoli, cauliflower, these stinkier vegetables. Vitamin C foods, this would be citrus, and really most colorful vegetables are going to have vitamin C. Amino acids, which we talked about, are mostly in protein foods. Brazil nuts, because they're rich in selenium, and selenium supports glutathione. Spinach, avocado is rich in glutathione and supports its production in the body, and okra. And glutathione is naturally made in the body, but we also need to get it and support it from foods as well. So, how can we show love and support to our liver and really keep it strong, and really encourage it to work for us in a way that sustains our health? So, first and foremost, we could give the liver a break. And we do this by reducing our sugar intake, because we know sugar is really hard on the body. It causes a lot of spikes in blood sugar, and we just want to keep the body balanced and stable and supported with healthy, nourishing foods, and sugar is not that. We want to moderate alcohol consumption, because obviously we know, I think everyone knows, that alcohol is very hard on the liver. So adding alcohol just makes things harder. We want to read labels on food so we can avoid any of those additives in food, or GMOs and pesticides and things that are going to put more burden on the liver than is necessary. We want to work through our emotional blockages and release anything so that we're clear and things can move through us in a healthy way. We want to avoid unhealthy fats like margarine, trans fats, fried foods, fast foods. And we want to mind our stress levels, because we know that stress really throws the body also into a spin. So anything we could do to keep our body balanced and in what we call a state of homeostasis, where it's fairly calm. I mean, we're always going to obviously be dealing with things in life, but we can really mitigate a lot of it by eliminating the things that are easy for us to stop doing or work on. We can also make some lifestyle changes or improve our lifestyle by exercising and sweating regularly, because if we're excreting things from our sweat glands, then the liver doesn't have to do as much work. But if we're leaving the liver to do all the work, it's going to get burdened. We can eliminate toxic relationships from our life. So really work on any external kind of negative energy, things that it's coming in from the outside. We can get a lot of rest and good sleep. I think we can all use more of that, and just making sure that we're, in these rhythms with nature, maybe going to bed on the early side in the winter and getting up, a little bit with the sun in the morning, and really adjusting to the time and the change. We can move and twist the body. We can eat a healthy diet. We're talking a lot about that today. We can reduce toxic exposure. This could even be limiting the amount of time we're on our computer or on our phones, because that's toxic exposure as well. Changing our body products and our cleaning products. And we always, always, always want to hydrate, because water is the liver's best friend. This will include teas, herbal teas, as we'll talk about as well. So we can eat specific liver cleansing foods, or foods that really the liver needs to detoxify the stuff that's coming in every single day of our life. These include all of these vegetables. You'll notice that there are some of those brassica vegetables, like the broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and cauliflower are on here. There's a lot of greens. A lot of these are bitter, which is really great for digestion and the liver. So all of these things support the liver in detoxification. and they support digestion, and they really are a great start to having a healthy liver. And then we have what we call our allium-rich foods, garlic, onions, and shallots. Sometimes people are allergic to these, so we want to be mindful of that. But garlic especially is really, really great for almost everything and definitely for the liver. It's very supportive to the detoxification process. And so if we can incorporate it raw or cooked, we're going to be ahead of the game by eating any of these foods. Then we want to make sure we're eating healthy fats, like we said, not eating trans fats or bad things. And so olive oil is really great. Avocado is very rich in glutathione, as we talked about. Walnuts are also very supportive of the liver. Sardines are an option. It's not everybody's favorite, but any of those smaller canned fish can be much lower in heavy metals than some of the bigger fish we eat. So I feel like on these lists, we always have like salmon, or wild caught fish, which is really great. But a lot of those fish really do have a lot of toxicity, unfortunately, because our waters are very polluted. So some of these smaller fish like sardines, mussels, oysters, they're not as toxic, or maybe not even toxic at all, because they're so small and they don't have a lot of fat in their body to store the toxins. And then we can always eat olives as an option as well. And then juicing and even smoothies are always a wonderful way to flush, to give digestion a break, to give the liver a break, just really pushing things through. Beets are especially helpful for the liver. Ginger also. But any of these are going to be wonderful to juice or blend, and just to give your body a little bit of a breather from digesting food, chewing food, and having everything get through every system. And then we can incorporate some detoxifying teas. So this is a list. It's not exhaustive, but these are some of the most detoxifying teas we can eat. Green tea is very, very rich in antioxidants. Turmeric tea is also really wonderful for the liver. Also very detoxifying. But any of these blended together and sipping on them throughout the day is going to be really supportive, and it just feels very warm and nourishing. And I think you'll notice that it's very calming to drink these kinds of teas in the day. And then I wanted to just speak for a minute about some what I call liver superstars. So these are some of the foods and types of foods that stand out and have been pretty well researched in terms of liver support. The first is protein, which we know we all need protein. It's really hard when we're eating vegetarian and vegan diets, but it's not impossible. Like we have lentils on here. We also have undenatured whey, which is a powdered supplement that you could add to smoothies. It's a byproduct of dairy. So if dairy is an issue, you're not going to want to eat whey, but it is a really rich food that is rich in sulfur, and it's really a great substitute when you want to do a smoothie or something like that. Eggs and cottage cheese are very rich in sulfur. Eggs are just like an all-around great food. They just provide so many nutrients. They have just the right amount of fat and protein. So those are always a good option if you eat eggs. And then again, the cold water fish, or making sure we're getting, if we're eating meats, we're getting grass-fed meats, and making sure we're getting those amino acids and omegas and things like that. I wanted to highlight cilantro because this is what we call a chelator, and cilantro has been shown to pull toxins out of the body, specifically heavy metals. So being able to do that just with this natural herb is pretty amazing. So we can add cilantro to our food, we could juice it, add it to our salads, but this is a great thing to incorporate into your diet to support your liver and detoxing. Burdock root is also really great. We're not as familiar with it. You can find it at Whole Foods. I've seen it there. It's always in Japanese markets. But it is kind of a cross between a carrot and a beet, and it's kind of bitter. But when you roast it, it really tastes very similar to almost like a potato. You can also boil it in soups, things like that, but this is really good for the blood. It's very good for detoxification. So incorporating and playing with a little burdock root, if you've never tried it, might be a fun thing to do. And then we always want to make sure we've got enough fiber in the diet, and we can get fiber from a lot of different sources. Insoluble and soluble fiber are both great, but fiber is like, not unlike cilantro, it really, like, especially insoluble fiber really scrapes out the inside of the colon and pulls things down with it because it's so fibrous. So we want to make sure we're incorporating this to keep our colon healthy, our gut healthy, and our liver healthy. And then we want to eat foods rich in minerals. And I'm highlighting sea vegetables here, which I know are not always on everyone's diet, but they're not very hard to incorporate. So I use the kombu, which is the last one listed here, and it's very easy to find, or seaweed. And I just drop them into, when I'm cooking rice, when I'm cooking any kind of soup, in the broth. It doesn't add a ton of flavor, but it adds a ton of minerals. So anytime you can eat sea vegetables, you're really going to get a great dose of a lot of minerals that are harder to get. And a lot of us are depleted in minerals, mainly just because we're not eating enough of a variety of foods. So the more diverse your diet, the more rich it is in color, and the more you're trying new things and incorporating different things regularly, the better off you're going to be. But these are some of the main minerals that we want to incorporate to have a healthy liver and support our detox. And then we always have to highlight probiotics because the gut is super important, as we talked about. So you can take these orally. It's become pretty common to take probiotics now. They're easy to find. There's lots of probiotic-rich foods like yogurt, things like that you can incorporate. But keeping the gut healthy and making sure that we're supporting that gut microbiome is going to be hugely important, because if our gut's not working, we're not absorbing food. If we're not absorbing food, it's not getting through our systems to get out. And so we get backups of things, and then that's where we can become very sick. Milk thistle is probably one of the most researched herbs when it comes to the liver. It's very easy to find. You can take it in capsule form. There's also milk thistle tea. It's a really healing herb, and it's really great for detoxing and supporting the liver. And then lemon water. I know we talked about hydrating, but we really do want to be drinking at least 64 ounces of water every day. Waking up in the morning and having a glass of warm water with lemon is life-changing. It's the simplest lifestyle change you can make, and it really does flesh you out, because when you wake up in the morning, don't forget they call it breakfast for a reason, because you're breaking a fast. So you want to give your digestive system a minute when you wake up. And so when we drink lemon water, we're just telling the body, I'm up, I'm going to be feeding myself soon. Let me gently wake you up to the new day. So take some time to drink lemon water if you're not already, or lime is probably okay too. But this is a really beautiful way to start the morning before your coffee or tea or whatever you do in the morning. So I set up some supplemental nutrients for you in my account at FullScript. This is the link that goes directly there. You do have to create an account, but you're under no obligation to buy anything. But you can go in and look and see. Just put a few things in there, nothing complicated. If you have any questions about that, feel free to email me. You could also just go to FullScript directly and search for Psyche and Salt, my business, and you should be able to find me there as well. But if you have any trouble, just let me know. I also wanted to mention Seafood Watch to you, because if you don't already know about it, it's an app and also a website, and it's a great resource for finding fresh fish that is not toxic. So they'll give you a rating of what is the most contaminated and what is the best to buy, and where to buy it from. So when you go to the grocery store, you can be a savvy consumer, and you're not just buying random fish there. You're seeing, where does it come from? Is it farm raised? Is it not farm raised? Should I be eating farm raised fish? And so Seafood Watch is a really trustworthy resource to help you navigate that. And then Earth Hero is a lovely website that has products for your body, for your house. It's a great place to kind of look around and get inspired to maybe make some changes to create a healthier environment in your home wherever you can, to as another option of supporting your liver and your detoxing. So I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. And I look forward to hearing your feedback and seeing you soon.